Hello and welcome to our Horizon Aquatics YouTube channel. If you're an aquascaping enthusiast and want to learn more about the hobby, you're in the right place. We upload build videos, tutorials, product reviews, informational videos and much more. But today we are going to be taking an in-depth look at one of the most beloved critters in the aquascaping hobby, a real MVP of any aquarium, and that is the classic Amano shrimp. Amano shrimp, or Caridina multidentata, are small freshwater shrimp originally from Japan and parts of East Asia. So they're best known for their incredible appetite for algae, especially soft algae types that can be hard to manage in planted tanks. Their rise to fame in the aquascaping world is thanks to Mr. Takashi Amano. The legendary aquascaper and founder of ADA. He introduced these shrimp into his beautifully crafted nature aquariums in the 90s. Their constant grazing helped to maintain pristine plant growth and algae-free tanks, all without harsh chemicals or excessive maintenance. And ever since then, they've been a staple in planted tanks, valued not just for their cleaning abilities, but also for their peaceful nature and how well they blend into natural layouts. So they have a semi-transparent body with light brown or grey tint, along with a row of small reddish-brown dots along the sides of the body. And they grow up to around 2 inches. They're larger than many other freshwater shrimp and are constantly grazing on algae and biofilm, making them excellent tank cleaners. So that in contrast to these, cherry shrimp, such as Caridina and Neocaridina, are smaller and more colourful, and they're generally bred for their striking appearance, most commonly bright red, but also found in blues, yellows, oranges and other vibrant shades. And whilst cherry shrimp do eat biofilm and soft algae, they're arguably not as efficient cleaners as Amanos. However, they are much easier to breed in freshwater. They're very hardy and they're perfect for adding a pop of colour to your tank. Amano shrimp, on the other hand, are more understated in colour, but they're still beautiful in their own way. They can be sensitive to water conditions, and they also won't breed in a standard aquarium setup, which could be a good thing as you won't be overrun by shrimp. And this is because they need brackish water for their eggs to develop once hatched. But it's their algae-eating skills and peaceful nature that make them a favourite among aquascapers. Many hobbyists even keep both species together, enjoying the best of both worlds. So what makes Amano so useful in the aquarium is their appetite for algae, and Amano shrimp will tackle a variety of algae, from various filamentous algae such as hair or string algae, as well as help with diatoms in the early stages of a tank. Generally, they're good with most algae and biofilms, with the exception of BBA and cyanobacteria. They may pick at BBA if they're hungry, but they're more likely to eat it when it's turning red, and when it's turning red, it means it's dying. It is thought that BBA is too brittle and gritty and just not favourable, whereas cyano is a type of a bacteria, and again, it's probably not all that tasty. So Amano shrimp aren't just amazing algae eaters, they're also fantastic tank mates for a peaceful community aquarium. Their calm, non-aggressive nature makes them ideal tank mates for a range of freshwater fish and invertebrates. They spend most of their time grazing on algae, biofilm and leftover food, and they generally keep to themselves without bothering other tank inhabitants. Although when it comes to feeding time, you might find that they can get a little bit feisty, and it's not uncommon to see them come charging in and stealing a morsel of food. But generally they do just fine in a community tank of peaceful fish, such as tetras, rasboras, corydorus, ottocinclus, etc., and even other shrimp species like cherry shrimp. So as long as they're not housed with large or aggressive fish that might see them as food, like cichlids or larger gouramis, Amanos will thrive and contribute to a balanced, low-stress aquarium environment. Their social but not intrusive behaviour, combined with their hard-working attitude, makes them a popular choice for aquascapers and hobbyists looking to maintain a clean, peaceful and visually appealing community aquarium. So when it comes to feeding Amanos, you need to ensure that there is a consistent food source in the aquarium. And if you have a fairly clean tank or an algae-free tank, then you will need to add additional food supplements. And this is always a good idea in general, as a varied diet will promote the best health and longevity in Amano shrimp. And whilst their general lifespan is thought to be around 5 years, there are actually many reports of them living way past 10 years. So we recommend feeding them a mix of algae and plant-based foods, from spirulina and algae wafers to nettle and dandelion pellets, and even some animal proteins can benefit them. And if you are unfortunate enough to lose a fish in your aquarium, Amano shrimp will actually happily take care of the body. And Amano shrimp are natural scavengers in the wild, so it might seem a little bit alarming at first to see a shrimp feasting on a dead fish, but this behaviour is actually completely normal and it's actually really beneficial for the tank's overall health. Because by consuming decaying matter like dead fish, Amanos help prevent water quality issues that can arise from decomposition. It also provides them with an extra bit of protein, which is a natural part of their omnivorous diet. However, this shouldn't be their primary food source, of course. Amano shrimp thrive on a balanced diet that, as mentioned, includes algae, biofilm, and other supplemental foods. If a fish does pass away in the tank, it is still important to remove it promptly if the shrimp doesn't consume it quickly, as excess decay can cause an ammonia spike in your aquarium. So if Amano shrimp are a species that you are interested in adding to your aquarium, it's important to know how to give them the best care in order for them to thrive. And we've discussed their diet and the tank mates. So now let's take a look at the water parameters. So Amano shrimp are hardy and adaptable, and they thrive in a fairly wide range of water parameters. Whilst their young require brackish water to develop, juveniles and adults live in fresh water. So ideal conditions for Amanos include temperatures between 20 to 26 degrees Celsius, a pH of between 6 and 8, a GH or general hardness between 4 and 15, and a carbonate hardness between 2 and 8. Or a TDS range is good between 150 and 250. These are optimal guidelines, but Amanos can tolerate slight variations, Like all crustaceans, they need a consistent supply of minerals to support healthy molting and maintain strong exoskeletons. So regularly monitoring their molt is a great way to gauge their overall health. So whilst Amanos don't require a large amount of space, a tank of around 60 litres, which is about 15 gallons, is ideal for a group of, say, 6, along with your other community livestock. Anything smaller than 30 litres or 8 gallons is generally considered too small for Amano shrimp. However, cherry shrimp being smaller would be a more appropriate option. So full-size Amanos, adult Amanos, especially the females, can reach about 6 centimetres quite easily, and they can also get quite chunky, so it is a good idea to give them space. So let's look at some common issues that you might face when keeping Amano shrimp. So despite them being hardy and relatively low maintenance, like all things, Amanos can still face a few common issues in home aquariums. And one of the most frequent problems is molting trouble, which can be caused by a lack of essential minerals like calcium or just a sudden change in water parameters. And these can lead to failed molts, which are often fatal. Another issue is sudden death shortly after introduction, usually due to shock from rapid shifts in temperature, pH or TDS, and this is often a result of improper acclimation. So using a slow drip acclimation method helps prevent this. It is also advised not to add them to a tank till it is fully mature and cycled. So Amano shrimp are also known to be escape artists, and if the water quality is poor or they feel a bit stressed out, they may climb out of the tank. So a lid or even just keeping the water level just a little bit lower is advised just to prevent this from happening. In community tanks, they can fall victim to larger, more aggressive fish. So as we've mentioned, it is important to keep them with more peaceful tank mates. And lastly, in very clean or new setups, there may not be enough natural algae or biofilm for them to graze on. Supplementing their diet with algae wafers, blanched vegetables, or shrimp-specific foods will help keep them healthy and active. So that's quite a lot of information. So if we just do a quick recap on everything that we've learned in this video so far. Firstly, make sure you acclimate your shrimp slowly. Always drip acclimate Amano shrimps over the course of at least 1 to 2 hours when introducing them to a new tank. As we've mentioned, sudden changes in water parameters can cause shock or even death. Number 2 is to maintain stable water conditions. So whilst Amanos are hardy, they don't handle rapid fluctuations well. So keep your temperature, your pH, GH, KH and TDS consistent to avoid stress. Regular but small water changes are often better than large or infrequent big ones. So number 3 is to provide a mineral-rich environment. They need calcium and other minerals for a healthy molt and strong exoskeletons. So ensuring that your GH is in the appropriate range of between 4 and 15, and consider adding mineral supplements if needed, or foods high in vitamins and minerals. Which brings us on to number 4, feed a balanced diet. So as we've mentioned, Amanos are excellent algae eaters, but they still need additional food, especially in well-maintained or newer tanks with little to no algae. So offer a mix of high-quality shrimp foods. Number 5 is to monitor molting. So healthy molting is a sign of a healthy shrimp. If molts are incomplete or too frequent or too infrequent, check your water quality and the mineral levels, and also make sure that your shrimp have hiding spots where they feel safe to molt, because during molting, shrimp's exoskeletons are a lot softer. Number 6 is to avoid aggressive tank mates. Keep them with peaceful fish and invertebrates. Larger or territorial species may harass or even eat them, especially during molting, and as we've said, that's when they are most vulnerable. Number 7 was to keep your tank covered or keep the water level lower, as Amanos can and will climb out of the tank, especially if stressed or the water conditions are poor. So a tight fitting lid will help prevent any escapes, or just keeping your water level lower. Number 8 is just to observe their behaviour. So lethargy, constant hiding, erratic swimming can be a sign of stress or even illness. Active foraging and regular molting are a good sign of health. So that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Amano shrimp, one of the most reliable and hard-working additions to any planted aquarium. From their impressive algae eating skills to their chilled temperament and just overall fascinating behaviour, it's easy to see why they've become a favourite among aquascapers and shrimp keepers alike. With the right care, stable water parameters and a balanced diet, these shrimp can live long, healthy lives while helping to keep your tank clean and thriving. Whether you're building a lush aquascape or simply just want a low-maintenance cleanup crew, Amanos are a brilliant choice. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more aquascaping videos, tips and tutorials, and let us know in the comments if you keep Amano shrimp or even if you plan to add them to your tank. Thanks so much for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.